Hello students, good morning all of you. I hope you are fine beta. Now today we are starting our unit and measurement. Okay, then today we will do what is unit and how we can measure these units, different quantity of the measurement of the unit. Okay, so yesterday in last class we discussed about the topic of the unit measurement, which topic we will do in our 11th class. Okay, related with our unit and measurement. Okay, now we are starting our first topic. Now, first your introduction. Then here, introduction, our quantities, we are dividing into two types. First one, your physical quantity, and next your non-physical quantity, that are the your type of the quantity. Okay, physical quantity, those quantity, any quantity which can be measured is called the physical quantity. Okay, measure means if we are walking, okay, then how much distance we can travel. Okay, if we are taking or doing some work, then how much time we can take it, then we can measure this time, how much time taken by it. Okay, if we are bringing the milk, then that can be how much milk we are bringing, that we can measure in the liter. Okay, so those quantity which we can measure, that quantity is known as the physical quantity. Okay, for example, length, temperature, pressure, weight. Okay, if you are having mass, any body is having mass, then weight always will be there. So we can measure how much weight. Your weight can be 50, can be 54, 49. Means we can measure this type of the quantity, so known as your physical quantity. No, next your non-physical quantity. Non-physical quantity, those quantity which can't be measured. For example, if you are laughing, then we can't measure this one. In which unit we can measure? Next year, happiness, emotion, anger. Then we can't measure these quantity. So these are the quantity which can't be measured is known as a non-physical quantity. Those quantity we can measure, that is known as physical quantity, and those we can't measure, that known as the non-physical quantities. So here two type of the quantity. Next our physical quantity. Next our physical quantity. These physical quantity beta, we are dividing those quantity we can measure. So how we can measure these quantity? We can divide into two types: fundamental physical quantities and next your derived physical quantity. What are the fundamental physical quantities? We can call it base quantity also. Base. Okay, these are the 7 types of the base quantities. You can say they are fundamental quantities which we can't derive from the another unit. Means in itself they are already basic only. That is known as your fundamental quantities. For example, length. Okay, length is your to measure the distance. Yes or no? To measure the side of any object. So this length we can't derive another unit itself, only the base of the quantities. So that's why this one here fundamental quantity. Another example you can say time. Time also our base quantity. Understood or not? If you are measuring any how much time is taken to do any work, then this time will be our fundamental unit. This one we can't derive from any another unit. That's why we will call it base unit, fundamental unit. Another example, another type of the physical quantity is known as the derived unit. Derived, those quantities which we can derive from the fundamental quantity. These derived physical quantities derive from the fundamental quantities, that is known as the derived physical quantities. Okay, so in our physics beta, many terms we are doing, then each having the quantities, how we can measure this one. So need of the measure of the quantities, there is a unit. Okay, so there are the two type I told you beta, fundamental and next here derived. Okay, type of the fundamental unit. These are fundamental. Here, fundamental. Fundamental quantities. Okay, these are the fundamental quantities. We can say base units, that is known as your fundamental. Okay, that is in our nature having beta 7 type of the fundamental units. First one, your length. Length we can't derive from the derived unit. That's why we will call it fundamental quantities. So length, we will complete this table beta. That is a table of the fundamental quantities. Here length is having unit. Here unit of the length is meter. What? Meter. Okay. And for it then we will use the symbol here m only. Small m letter we will use for the unit of the length. Next, our fundamental quantity, that is your mass. Mass we can't derive from the another quantity, that's why we will call it fundamental quantity beta. Mass we will write unit here kilogram. If you want to measure the mass of any object, then we will measure in which unit? Here unit we are writing, then unit will be a kilogram. Next unit will be your kilogram. How we can write its symbol will be beta, in short that we will write kg only. Next here time. Time will be your second. SI unit of the time, that is your second only. Then how we can write in short? SCC. Now next fundamental unit, temperature. Temperature also itself, that is a fundamental unit. We can't derive this one unit from the derived unit. That's why we will call it again fundamental unit. So temperature unit area Kelvin. Clear? And how we can write in short, that is your capital K letter. Now next your luminous intensity. Luminous intensity, that is unit will be your beta candela. What? Candela. Okay. Then here how we can write there? CAD. Now next will be your electric current. Electric current, that is a current flow due to the charge particle with the time. So electric current also itself in electricity is the fundamental unit. Okay. So current unit will be beta ampere. What? Ampere. Okay. And how we can write? A letter only we will use for it. Then amount of the substance that we will take at unit with the mole, and symbol of this one will be your MOL. Okay, these are the 7 type of the fundamental units that can't be derived from the another unit. Okay, but with help of these fundamental unit we can derive the remaining units that we will use in our syllabus. So that's why these unit we will call it your derived unit. Okay, so here next your part which I told you, that is your derived quantity, or you can say derived unit. Derived quantity and derived unit. Okay, derived unit, those quantities which can derive from fundamental units, quantities you can say. Okay, and fundamental I told you, that is fundamental your 7 type base units. Yes or no? Base quantities table told you not complete. Then from this one table we can derive the another unit with help of this one. So example you can say, example of the derived unit we can write, for example your force beta. Force. Know about the force. Force is your product of mass and acceleration, that is your force. Okay, so here we can say beta mass is your fundamental unit, but acceleration is not fundamental unit. Acceleration also we can derive from fundamental. So separate acceleration we can write there. Acceleration how we can write? Meter per second square. Yes or no? Acceleration your change in velocity per unit time. Understood? So change in your velocity per unit time, then formula will be this one, change in velocity. How we can write? That is your change in velocity divided by your time, that is your acceleration. So velocity unit will be beta your meter per second, and divided by time again, then write there 1 by second. So here we can write there meter per second square will be your unit of the acceleration. So how we can write this one? Mass is your unit is your kg. Kg is your meter per second, these are also fundamental unit, means this one your mass, your length and time. All three we have done already in this table. That means you can say force our drive unit. This force we can derive from the fundamental. Okay. Another example we can say, another example of this one we can say work done. Okay. If we are talking about the work done, work done, then work done we can say force into displacement. Yes or no? Till now we have not done about the vector and scalar quantity. In next unit we will read about vector and scalar. So till here we know about the force and displacement, that is known as your work done. Yes or no? So this work done, can you say this one fundamental unit? No, because work done is your come out from the fundamental units. Okay, that is not already fundamental. So that's why this is coming from your base unit, fundamental units. We will call it derived unit. Understood? So here force, I told you already that your mass and acceleration, displacement, that your path, and path we can measure in your meter. Okay. So here displacement we can write there meter, and this one your mass and acceleration, mass we can write kg, meter, second minus 2, and this one your meter already 1, then it will be your unit of your work done. Understood? So see beta, kg your fundamental unit, your meter is also fundamental, and second also your fundamental unit. So we can say these are the work done is our derived unit. Understood difference between your fundamental? But in our physics, any work we are doing, any topic we are reading, then every term we are dividing two types, fundamental and derived unit. Okay. Then if we are talking about the work, force, energy also different type, your kinetic potential. Understood? Volume, temperature, pressure, area, then all term will be come in two category, that is a fundamental or your derived unit. And fundamental derived both are the part of the physical quantity. Physical quantity, those we can measure. Non-physical, I told you beta, which those quantities which can't be measured. For example, emotions, laughing, talking, walking, we can't measure these type of the emotions. So here these are the physical quantities. Okay. Another example we can take beta for the volume also. Volume will be your fundamental or derived. Volume unit we can write there meter cube. Yes or no? Volume side into side into side. So here will be meter cube, and meter cube is your combination multiple of the 3 unit of the length. That's why volume also will be your derived unit. Clear to everyone? Okay. So here difference between these two terms, these are. Now next here, your question is given, temperature can be expressed as the derived term of the following. So temperature, how we can write this one temperature? Temperature we can derive from any quantities or itself it is a fundamental quantity. Tell me this thing. Here temperature can be derived by this one. First your option length and mass. Second your mass and time. Third length and mass and time. D or none of this. Now which we can say right option. Temperature is already, we have done temperature. Temperature is already fundamental unit, but that is your fundamental unit. Fundamental unit. Okay, that is not your derived unit. So how we can't say this one is a depend upon length, mass time, length. Okay, this already fundamental units. That's why here can't be derived this from any another term. That's why here D option will be our right option. None of these, because already this one here fundamental unit. Clear to everyone? Okay. Next we can say beta, that is, for example, this I am saying that your length. Okay, length can be derived from following quantities. Okay, question is this one. Then here options are there. Then first one option you can say that is your speed. Next your option we can say velocity into your displacement, sorry, time, velocity into time. Third will be your none of these. Clear? Here this one question, length can be derived from the following quantities. Your options are speed, velocity, time, and C will be your none of these. So how we can identify? First of all, beta, first we will check their unit is given, quantity is given, that quantity is your physical or non-physical. Okay, so you can measure or not. So here given length we can measure, yes or no? If we can measure it, then this one will be fundamental or derived. So here we done about this one complete table of the fundamental length unit is your meter only. So meter length we can't derive from the another unit. It's already fundamental unit. That's why beta we will call it here. This one, none of these will be a right option. We can't derive from the speed. We can't derive velocity into time. This already our fundamental unit. That's why we can't say about this one. Clear to everyone? Beta, here these are the type of the quantities, two type of the quantity. Next we will do, next topic our dimension. Okay, why we are using these dimension, their type of the quantities, where we will use this quantity in term of the unit. Okay, thank you. थोड़ी सी देर का हुआ